In this video, we're going to be looking at the difference between the Hobbywing XR10 stock spec XR10 ESC versus the Quicrun BL120, both censored ESCs. Which one is better for rear-wheel drive drift, and which one fits your application better? Is it the $50 ESC or the $100 one? If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. You will see us do a whole bunch of stuff, from crawling and bashing, drifting, sometimes some racing, getting into some FPV drone stuff, all this kind of thing. But also a lot of what you see on the channel is how-to videos and product demonstrations. And so what we're looking at here today, rear-wheel drive RC drift. And if you've looked at it at all, you'll see there's a whole slew of different ESCs out there. You'll see some folks who are just messing around in their garage running maybe just brushed setups, and that seems to work. But all the way to the other end of the spectrum, where you can get some of the high-end Yokomo ESCs that are $200–300, right? What do you really need for your drift setup? That's really one of the things that I'm trying to answer here today. I've looked, and it was recommended, and I've been running this Hobbywing XR10. This is the XR10. There's multiple levels of this XR10. It's really somewhat confusing when you try to search one. Hobbywing makes the XR10 in a just stock spec, zero timing, zero adjustability, all that kind of stuff. This is the XR10 stock spec, where I actually have access to turbo, boost, all these tuning functions within the ESC. Then they actually have an XR10 Pro, which even unlocks even more power out of the ESC, but then also some other functionality. And it literally goes from something like 50, this one's 100, all the way up to, I think it's 150, 160 for the higher end model. But I've always been curious, like this Hobbywing, the 10BL120 from the Quicrun, it's censored, it's a brushless ESC, it's censored, it's actually 220 amps, whereas this one's only 80. Like, how good would this one be when it's actually half the price? So I'm going to get this ESC installed in a different chassis, and we are going to do head-to-head comparison of what it is that it allows us to tune, how is it to set it up, what is truly the difference. We're going to do some drifting in the garage, all to see what it looks like. So as we get this Hobbywing, the Quicrun, the BL120 out of the box, one, it looks so nice. Look at that beautiful red heatsink up there on the top. That is looking great. One thing you will immediately notice, however, is size difference between it and the XR10 XR10. I mean, it's like 50% larger in both directions, both width and length. Height, it's just a little bit taller in height, but otherwise that makes a very, very large difference. Wires are color coded here, and a higher gauge to support that, a thicker gauge in order to support that higher amperage that it pushes, versus these smaller gauge wires that are all black that come with the XR10. And so, hey, I want to know from you, like, which one are you? Are you more the garage drifter, you know, hanging out with your buddies in the garage, just chilling, taking it easy kind of drifting? Or are you more like competition, I want to beat them, I want to be the best? Which end of this spectrum are on you? I would really like to hear that feedback. Let me know down below in the comments. And just like that, check it out. Look at that beautiful ESC installed right here on the chassis. I got the capacitor, plug wire right here, motor wires run back. So before we do anything to it, we're just going to fire it up. We have to do the base programming to it. So what that means is we're gonna set the throttle. So controller's on, battery's plugged in. We have to turn it on, wait till it goes into beeping, leave it in neutral, hit it once, full throttle, wait for the 2 beeps, go to max reverse, 3 beeps, and then we are in good shape. So I'm going to throw the body on it, and we are going to do some laps. So out of the box, what does it do? Can you drift with the $50 ESC? So check that out, straight out of the box. It did the thing, it did the drifting, right? And that's one of the things that we're always trying to answer is like, so many people are interested in trying this rear-wheel drive RC drift stuff, but they're so nervous about spending so much money to get into it to start with. Look at that, that's a $50 ESC. And it drifted great, right? Control was good, feel was good. I have literally zero issues with it whatsoever. As it comes out of the box, we're having fun. Now let's go, we're gonna fire up my other drift car that has that, the XR10, stock spec SR10 in it. Now let's see if we can tell a difference. All right, and then back in, so with this XR10 ESC, so for double the money, what do you get? It does seem like there is a little bit more power delivery, even though that is an 80 amp ESC versus a 120. For some reason, it does seem more powerful. Now, the truth is it's not a real perfect head-to-head comparison, because this is actually running a Hobbywing 10.5 turn motor, whereas this is running a Trackstar 13.5, and it's not really a super fair comparison, is it now? So the other thing that we can do is, if you were really listening, you could hear kind of a higher pitched when I fully got into the throttle. That's because this ESC allows functionality of turbo and boost. Turns out this one doesn't. So let's get these things plugged into the program cards so we can see just what the difference is once you actually get into them. Alright, first is the BL120 ESC. So when you pull it out, you actually have to pull the wire out of the receiver, which of course is not a big deal. It's not in a box or anything along those lines. So when we plug it in and fire it up, this is using the standard Hobbywing program card that you would get with basically any of the like their Hobbywing 1080 brushed ESCs that I get these with, all that kind of stuff. So very, very common to have this one around. And then when you look at the instructions, you will see 9 programming items: running mode, drag brake, low voltage cutoff, punch, and then you have some max drag brake, max reverse force, initial brake force, throttle range, and then timing. So the good news is we can actually pull in up to 26 extra degrees of timing into this motor, and we can reduce down the punch in order to soften as we are drifting. You can see overall 9 items, a couple different options within them. Nothing crazy, doable, but you know, it's nothing, not a lot. Let's go compare versus the XR Run. Over here with this XR10 ESC, it actually requires the LCD program box. So that is a whole different level than what you had before with the other one. And then it has a couple built-in modes within this ESC, so it can have some different ones. One is a drift function that you can actually use and then modify from there. But we're going to look through this. So remember, 9 modes on the other one. We have a running, reverse, cutoff voltage, thermal protections, BEC voltage. We have throttle rates, neutral ranges, drive frequencies. Look at this: drag brakes, brake forces, brake rates, brake curves. I mean, look at that, all that different kind of stuff. Boost, right? Now that's a very key one that you could hear that I was using that we don't have the option with that Quicrun, is boost when it comes in, and then turbo also. And when is that turbo hitting, right? And then we can come all the way back to restore defaults, and it's in the mode 5, it's in the drift mode. So, and then you can see all this other stuff that is in here that it monitors. So a whole lot more programming features, a lot more sophistication. That's what you're getting for your $50 extra that you get when you end up with this XR10 Pro versus that BL120. All right, so where does that all leave us? You know, truthfully, at the end of the day, I think both of these ESCs really have a place depending on how you're planning on driving your drift car. So are you gonna be just around in the garage a lot with your friends? Hobbywing Quicrun 10BL120, $50, just over $50, great value, powerful, does everything basically that you need it to do. Now, however, if you're planning on being a little more, you're going to go to a track, you're trying to get to be one of the better ones there, you want to get right in people's doors, you know, you want to have if you're in a bigger space than like the garage, maybe it's worthwhile stepping up to that XR10. You get the turbo, you get the boost, you get all those programming features where you can tweak the car a little bit more. It's really kind of nice to have. I don't regret spending that what is it, like 110 or something like that. I'll put a link down below for this XR10. It's gonna do me well for a long time. I am perfectly happy with it. I love the small size. So, you know, if you really are choosing between the two of them and you're fine either way, then get the XR10. Like, it's better. It is truly better. But if, you know, your budget's more of a concern and you're just not, you don't care about the turbo and boost and you're fine with just a little bit simpler programming, then man, this Quicrun is great. It is perfect. It does everything that you're going to need it to do. Smooth power delivery, plenty of power. It's really nice, especially when you pair it with a good motor. So keep an eye out for that. We will be doing some motor testing here soon, I hope. Kind of working that plan right now, and to see what that difference works out to be. So anyway, thank you very much. Always appreciate your time, always appreciate your support, and we will see you later. Goodbye.